Good evening. It's Monica from Life is Art and Scrap. It's almost Monday. Let's create. We are going to be creating a layout this evening, and I'm just making sure. Oh no, that's not set up right. Oh my goodness. If I look through the camera, I get it wrong, and if I look through the screen, I get it wrong. It looked like I was way too close before. Now I'm way too far away. So let's lower it down so we can get the best view possible of the layout as we create. Let's see now. We're still a little crookedy. See if that works. And see how that is. It's always a guessing game, it seems. I use my phone to record videos and the lives, and if I look through what's on the camera on the phone, it looks odd, and then when I start the video, it looks odd too. If you're joining me live this evening, just say hello or howdy so I know you're here. And if you're watching later, you can just say replay. I see Heather's here already. Hi, Heather. Good evening. Hello, hello. We're going to be doing a layout that I've had in mind for quite some time. And, you know, we all do it. We scroll through Pinterest and we find stuff and we pin it and we save it, and then eventually we get around, hopefully, to creating it. And so this is a layout that I've been looking at, and I really like the style of it. And when I was scrolling through Facebook this morning, of course, I'm just pushing up my sleeves, you get the memories popping up, and the memory that popped up today I thought would just be perfect with this layout. And so I thought, this is the day we're going to do it. So for our layout today, we're going to use a few things. We're going to use some of the mix-in paper from the January-February catalog. We're going to use some of that. We're going to use a whole bunch of cardstock, various colors. And we're also going to use a stamp set from this catalog that is called the Remember This Moment stamp set, that has all these lovely words and phrases on it. We're going to be using that. We're also going to be using some embellishments from the Essentials catalog. We're going to be using the black die cut titles, and we're going to be using the pink acrylic titles. I had to think about that for a minute. The pink acrylic titles. We're also going to be using some dots from the Essentials catalog. So lots of things happening. So let's get started. We're going to begin with everybody's dreaded thing. A plain piece of white daisy cardstock. You start out with a blank page, and it's sometimes a little intimidating to get started, I find. They say that with watercolor painting and other kinds of painting, so sometimes it's good to just throw some color on there to break up the whiteness. It doesn't even really matter what the color is, it's just to get something on there. So we're going to start out with some Seabrook cardstock to get started. Happy Sunday, Janet. Good evening. Nice to see you're watching. And this layout is entirely made of 1/2-inch strips of cardstock. That's the main detail on here. So I have some Seabrook cardstock that has been cut to 1/2 inch wide, and I'm using the light side of Seabrook. And so they're all 1/2 inch wide, but they're various lengths. So this first one is 4.5 inches. Now, when I post the photo of my layout, I will be posting the details with the sizes, okay? So don't try to furiously scribble down all the sizes, because there are going to be a lot of, there are going to be 42 strips of paper on this layout by the time we're done, okay? So don't try to get them all down right now. I will post them. So this is Seabrook. We're using the light side. It's 1/2 inch wide and 4.5 inches long. And I'm going to start this right on the edge of my paper at 4.5 inches up from the bottom. So it's 4.5 inches long, and we're starting 4.5 inches from the bottom. Now, when I cut these out, I had measurements that I was using because I got this layout off of Pinterest, and I created my own little ruler like we do when we're trying to, what is it called? Well, we call it scrap lifting, casing. Casing. Have you ever heard the term casing? When you case something? And so we're scrap lifting this one. So the next piece, and these are all the same color. These are all Seabrook. This next one is 6 3/4 inches long, and I have actually numbered them. So there are 21 pieces of Seabrook cardstock that are going on here. So this is number 2. This layout that I was inspired by was from a lady named Robin Dodds. She posted it on Pinterest. Okay, so now this next one, we're going to just kind of go off of the last one. I'm actually going to use my tweezers to help me with this because I want to try and keep these as straight as I possibly can. And I'm leaving just a tiny little smidge of space in between each strip of paper. Okay, so this one is going to be a little bit above, a little bit below, lined up next to that first one. Okay. And then our next strip, this is strip number 3, and this one is 7 inches. I had meant to get all this adhesive on the back before we started, but then I forgot. And actually this one, I want to do a little bit of stamping on. That was also the reason why I didn't put some adhesive on some of these. So this next one, no, sorry, not right now. I'm going to do that later. We're not going to stamp on these ones. These are the background pieces. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sometimes I forget and I get behind myself, and other times I get ahead of myself. Good evening, Mom. Nice to see you're watching. And Deborah's here too. Yes, 42 strips of paper, Janet. I know it's a lot of strips. And I think, was it you and I that were chatting the one night while I was working on this? And I thought, oh, well, I'm going to do it for a make and take, and I probably still will. But I didn't have time that night to get it all ready. So this next piece is going right next to that second one. Yes, so this is that layout. Because I think it was you and I that were chatting one night. Okay, now our next strip of Seabrook is 8.5 inches long. So I love how there's a variety of lengths of these strips. And it's going to create a very cool pattern. I was totally inspired by it. It gave me all the feels. And so this next one is going to be, let me just see here. I think I want to go a little bit up and a little bit down. So up above those other two, and then the bottom's going to hang below because it's a little bit longer. I want to make sure I don't get these strips too far apart. Otherwise, they're not all going to fit, and that could be a problem. So let's get on to the next one. So I've got them laying here beside me, and sometimes it's hard to pick them up. All right, little strips of paper. There we go. I needed a two-hander. Okay, so this next strip is 8 inches. So I love that they're all varying lengths. There's a few that are the same length, but they really kind of vary nicely all the way across the page. And that works perfectly for what we want here. So this next one, let's stick it on. And I'm just trying to find, there we go. Sorry, I'm distracted trying to find something here. So with this next one, we're going to go a little bit below that last one, like so. It's hard to do things and talk while you're doing like a second thing. I'm going to use my tweezers to help me pick up these strips. That will help me. So our next strip, strip number 6, is 8 1/4 inches, obviously by 1/2 inch. And this one is going to be just a smidge higher than that last one. You will notice when this is done, if you've ever like looked at, you know, like sound waves or something, it's going to do a little bit of this across the page. And I think that's really fun. It makes things very dynamic across your page. We've got number 7 here. Again, this is the light side of the Seabrook. And if I hold this one across, you'll see this is the dark side and these are on the light side. So that's what we want. This one is 9 inches long. So when you're cutting out your strips for this layout, you can if you have all your measurements, you can kind of mix and match. So if you need something that's 5 1/2 inches, and then you need something that is 6 1/2 inches, you can cut them out of the same 12-inch strip, right? So it's good to have all your measurements and think about them ahead of time before you cut. So this one's going to go a little bit above and a little bit below. Trying to keep ourselves straight. Keep everything working together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. I skipped one. I was thinking I was skipping one. There's number 8. This is why I numbered them. So if you've ever done a close to my heart layout, might as well put the adhesive on number 9 while we're at it. That comes with one of their workshops, and you've followed along with their video of how to create it. This is 8 inches long. Then you would have know that they try to tell you to label every time you cut something, and that way you can find it easier when you're doing your creating. So we're going to put this one down a little bit lower. When I say lower, I'm looking at the top, just so you know. If you look at the bottom, it'll actually be higher, but we're going a little lower. And then strip number 9 is 7 inches. Now, although I said 42 strips, there's 21 strips that are going to go across, and then another 21 that are all cut the same length as these ones, but in different colors. So it's going to be super cool. So this one's number 9, and it's going to go a little lower again at the top there. You'll see it coming down. And then we need number 10. So you're probably looking at this all in Seabrook going, wow, that's exciting. Trust me, it'll get there. This is just we're just laying the foundation. So this is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it's going to go up again. We're going up. Maybe not as high as that one. We'll go a little bit right there. And then number 11. Did I tell you how long 10 was? I might not have. Number 10 was 8 inches. And this is 11. And it's 7 1/2 inches. So far our lengths have all been pretty similar, other than the first one, but don't worry, they're going to get different again. So 7, 10, 11. This one's going to come down a little lower. I'm looking at sort of a map on the side to remind me of where the things are going. And Number 12 is 7 inches. Add my adhesive. This is why I wanted to do the adhesive ahead, but then I forgot. Oops, I got distracted. Didn't get it done. All right, so okay, so we're gonna jump down. We're gonna go low, 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 low. Right there. And then our next piece, number 13. Let me tell you, I cut out some of these about a week ago. I was very thankful that I numbered them. So this one is 5 inches. So there's a big jump. We're going to something smaller. So that's, what did I say? Number 13. And we're going to come down here like this. And then number 14 is 5 3/4 of an inch. Try and speed up a little bit. 5 3/4 of an inch. And it's going to go up again. We're going up. Just like that. And then and grab it. Number 15, shorter again, is, I was going to say 4. Yes. I keep having this moment where I think it's 4 1/4. No, it's 4 inches. Every time I go to move, my brain reads it as 4 1/4. How weird is that? Does your brain do that? It's 4 inches. All right, we're going to go back down again. Like that. And then, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Number 16. I was just thinking I'd miss number 15, but we already did it. Number 16. So many strips, now I'm getting confused. Number 16 is 5 1/2 inches. Five and a half inches. Where am I? Going up. Going up. Lost my place. There we go. Do you ever have that problem where, like, you're reading a book and you blink or maybe catch a couple Z's and then you have no idea where you are on the page? You end up reading the same thing over and over again? Does anybody else do that, or is it just me? All right, let's go here. No, let me give you the measurement. 4 inches, back to 4 inches. And we're going to come down a little lower, like that. I missed one. 18 is 3 1/2 inches. It's the hard part about talking and doing at the same time. So number 18 is 3 1/2 inches. And this one's going to be a little lower. Like that. Number 19 is 3 1/2 inches as well. So 2 that are the same size, side by side. But because of how we're going to place them, they're going to have a different look. So number 19 is going to go a little higher. Then number 20. And 20 is 3 inches. So what was our longest? 9 inches. And our shortest, we haven't got there yet. So what did I say? 3 inches. And it's going to go just kind of in the middle of that other one. Like that. And then this is our smallest one, number 21. And it is 1 3/4. So we've got strips ranging from 1 3/4 all the way to 9 inches. Janet says, oh yes, but I didn't catch it fast enough to know what she was agreeing to. But that's okay. So we're going to add this last one on like that. Okay. Now you'll notice I started right on the edge over here, and there's a little bit of space over here. That's what we want. And we've left a tiny little bit of space in between each of these. If you add up 1/2 inch by 21 strips, you're going to have 3/4 of an inch to play with. We're going to leave about 1/4 inch here. So we're only spreading out about 1/2 inch of space, give or take, between all of these strips. So if you're doing something like this, pardon me, you got hiccups, it helps to lay them all out first and give yourself a chance to get an eyeball of how much space is required in between. And I would even recommend, if you do that, then once you've got them all spaced out, pick them up individually and put them back down so that you keep that spacing. Just relieve yourself of the headache of trying to figure it out. So now we're going to start again, going across and adding in strips that are different colors. So the first 3 strips are going to be wisteria. We're using the light side of wisteria, and these are cut to the exact same size as these strips. So this first one was 4.5 inches. So we're going to take our 4.5 inch strip of light side of wisteria, and we're going to put it not directly on top of the previous strip, but we're going to kind of line it up with the strip top and bottom, and then we're going to shift it about 1/3 of the distance, like 1/3 of the 1/2 inch over, and line it up so that there's a little bit of that Seabrook showing along the edge. Okay, then we're going to take strip number 2, if I can get a hold of it, which is also wisteria. It's been cut at 6 3/4, just like this second piece of the Seabrook. Again, using the light side. Now it's up to you when you do something like this, how many colors you use, what order you put them in. As long as you start out with one color on the bottom, whatever you do on top is going to look cool. So we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to shift it over about 1/3 of the way. We're lining it up at the top and the bottom, but we're maintaining a little gap in between, just like we did when we did the first layer. We're leaving a little bit of gap so that you see that Seabrook poking through all across, and that's what makes this pattern look so cool. Then we've got our 3rd piece, which I of course numbered, and you can see the contrast here between the dark and the light wisteria. This 3rd piece, same size as the Seabrook, and it's 7 inches. And I think using the tweezers is a really smart idea for this, because you can kind of, when you approach your base page, come in at an angle so that only the edge of your paper is touching and there's no adhesive there. And then you can take your time and line up that 1/3 distance across the Seabrook strip that you're touching this to, and you can get that little gap in between your strips as well. So now I realized that I forgot to do what I said I was going to do. And from the Remember This Moment stamp set that I was showing you in the catalog, we're going to choose some of these words to stamp tone on tone onto our strips of paper. So this 3rd strip here, actually, see, I got ahead of myself first, and then I forgot to do it. And so what we want to do is we're going to take our wisteria ink. We're going to take the little phrase here, you and me. We're going to ink it up in the wisteria, and hopefully the strips and everything underneath won't affect it too much. And just at the bottom of this wisteria strip, I'm going to stamp that you and me tone on tone onto that strip. So it's just there. It's not in your face. It's a subtle thing. And hopefully we will like the effect it creates. I'm just trying to figure out where to put that stamp set now. There we go. Or that ink pad. All right. So we've got the you and me. I'm going to put that over there for now. Then we're moving on to our next color, and I decided to use Lemonade. So this next strip, number 4, is 8.5 inches long. One thing that I will tell you is that as I was cutting strips, I had to make sure that I didn't cut my strips crooked. If you find that you see that there's a little bit of crookedness in cutting your strips, it may not seem like a big deal when you're cutting them, but when you go to try and line them up on here, that difference will be noticeable. So you want to try and limit that as much as you can. So we're adding our lemonade on here, lining it up top and bottom, leaving a space. And then our next one, number 5 in Lemonade, is 8 inches long, but we're going to do a little bit of stamping on this one too. So let me see. Let me bring in a second Versamat here so I can do my stamping and not disturb my layout underneath. So I've got my strip, and from that same stamp set, I've got the little stamp here that says Friendship. And I don't have lemonade ink. Weird, I know, but I don't. So I'm going to do my best attempt with Sundance. And I didn't try it ahead of time, so hopefully it will turn out okay. We're going to stamp the word Friendship on there. Oh yeah, that looks good. Phew! I like it when a plan comes together. There we go. So we've stamped Friendship. Set that aside. Add my adhesive. And strip number 5 in the Lemonade is 8 inches. Now this time when we're lining these up, it's kind of a little bit easier because we have the previous Seabrook strips to kind of line us up top and bottom. And this one, because it's a little bit shorter on both ends, there's not a lot of this Seabrook strip showing, but we just have to maintain that little gap all the way down. And then our next one in Limeade is the 8.25 inch strip, number 6. And we can stick that down. Like so. And now we're going to switch colors again. That's the great thing about this layout. We get to use lots of colors, as many colors as we want. So I've got the next strip, which is 9 inches long. This is our longest piece, number 7. And this one has been cut from Ballerina, and I am using the true color side. So this is the only one where I'm using the true color side. All the other colors I used the light side. So that was the light side of the Lemonade. This is Ballerina. It's already a pale color. So we're going to use the true color side. And the true color side is always the darker side. Then our next strip, number 8, is 8 inches long. 8 is 8. How well was that planned? I tell you what. I tell you what. Alrighty. Sticking this one on. Line it up. And this is the kind of layout where it doesn't hurt to take your extra little bit of time to make sure that things line up, because the effect will be so cool when it all works. And this is strip number 9. It's 7 inches long. The true color side of Ballerina. What are we thinking of it so far? How's it looking? Are you starting to see how this effect is going to look really cool? And lining this piece up. like so. And now, because we've already done 3 of those, we're going to switch colors again. You know the drill. We're on to some Limeade. This is going to start looking very springy soon. So this is number 10. And the length, I just measured it, but now I've forgotten, 8 inches long. Some Limeade. Gonna line it up with the strip, leave our little gap. I like how it kind of gives it a little bit of that dimensional look when you've got that, it's like making a shadow on something where it's just shifted to the right. Instead of doing like a drop shadow, it's just a side shadow. Kind of cool. Now our next piece of Limeade, we're going to do some stamping again on it. This is number 11. It is the 7.5 inch piece. And we're going to stamp the Choose to Shine phrase on this one. But instead of stamping it at the bottom, we're going to stamp it at the top end, which, if we turn this, will be over here. So this is Limeade, so we're going to do tone on tone. We're going to use our Limeade ink. Just going to season that a bit because I don't think I've used this stamp before. Brand new stamp. Choose to Shine. I like that phrase. It's kind of cool. It works for a lot of occasions. A lot of things can be expressed with Choose to Shine, don't you think? And then we can add our adhesive on the back. I kind of like when you have colored cardstock to do that tone on tone stamping, because as you look at the layout, you're going to notice your photo first, your title, and then as your eye roams around the colors and moves around the page, it's going to start picking up those little details that didn't jump out right at the beginning. And that is a good feature on a layout, is having those little details that keeps your eye kind of moving. You see the important thing, the photo, the title, the journaling, but then it starts picking up the details so you're not immediately bored. Right? You don't want somebody to flip through your scrapbook album and just go meh, 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 meh. You want something of interest to catch them. So 7 inches long. We're lining it up top to bottom. Just like that. And then we're switching colors again to Capri. This is number 13. It's 5 inches. And again, we're going to be using the light side. Just the ballerina was done on the dark side. Super fun colors. I'm not trying to create a rainbow or anything with these colors. I'm just creating a beautiful cascade of colors. That's what we're going to call it, a cascade. Number 14 is 5 3/4 inches long. Add that on. Five 3/4. Stick it down. And then the last one in the Capri, number 15, is the one I keep wanting to measure. It's 4 inches. Every time I measure 4, my mind jumps to 4 1/4. Is that because we're used to doing photo mats? If it's 4 inches, then you do a mat that's 4 1/4. So my brain just keeps jumping to 4 1/4. Whew, craziness. Line that up. Switching colors again. And this time we're going to Lagoon, and we're using the light side of Lagoon. This is piece number 16. It is 5.5 inches long, and we're going to stamp on it. You know it. We're going to stamp It's the Little Things in Lagoon, tone on tone, Lagoon ink on Lagoon cardstock. Make sure it's seasoned. And we're going to kind of stamp 2/3 of the way up, somewhere around there. There we go. It's the Little Things. Set that aside. I just had a moment of what did I do with my layout? It's right underneath. Nothing has gone wrong. It's right there. My brain said, where'd it go? All right. It's the little things. Did everybody have a lovely weekend? We had some company this weekend. That was fun. I've gotten myself a little bit crooked on here, so we'll try to straighten things up as we go. It happens, you know, you get a little wiggle woggle in your step. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16. This is number 17, just confirming. And it is 4 inches. I think there's 2 or 3 that are 4 inches, maybe just 2. Right near each other. 4 inches in the Lagoon. Going down. We had, how many guests did we have yesterday? 15 of us all together in our house. A little squishy, but it was fun. So this is 3.5 inches long, number 18, strip number wise, and stick that on there like that. And we're switching colors again. We are switching to Mulberry. And gonna do some stamping on this. I've got the phrase that says, good things take time. Pick that up, get my Mulberry ink. Make sure it's seasoned. And this one we're just gonna kind of stamp in the middle. It's not a very long strip, so we're just going to do it right in the middle. Good things take time. One thing that I like about this particular stamp set, the Remember This Moment one, is that all of the fonts are different. At least they look like all of them are different. So there's lots of variety. You don't have to have the same font over and over and over, which is nice, even if you use them all on the same layout, or if you use them on different layouts. Just gives you more variety. So, number 19, we're almost there. Good things take time. We're adding that on. Just like that. And then number 20, which is 3 inches. Light side of Mulberry. Stick that down. I did mention that we were using a lot of strips of paper, right? It just takes us a moment to get there, to get them all on. Number 21 is 1 3/4 inch. The very last strip. And everybody says, phew! She's done. Not quite. We're not quite done. We're close, but we're not quite. And there we go. Now, you will see that there is still a little gap over here. That's not going to bother me. If it bothers you, then, you know, work on your spacing a little bit more, but that's pretty close. That's 1/8 inch at the most. So we did good with our spacing. I'm happy with that. Now, I want to show you the photo, and maybe it'll all kind of tie together when you see the photo that I'm using for this layout. And the reason I'm using this particular photo is because I had something come up in my Facebook memories and show me this photo, and it was from February the 25th, 2009, and it's Joshua, and they were participating in Pink Shirt Day at his school. He's in kindergarten in this photo, so cute and little, and so they had these little memos that came home with them in their lunch bags or whatever that said, bullying stops here, wear pink on Wednesday, February the 25th. And so Pink Shirt Day began in Nova Scotia in 2007. There was an incident where a student in grade 9 wore a pink shirt to school and was bullied because he was wearing a pink shirt. And so the students got together and decided that that was not right and that they should stand up against the bullying. And so they all decided to wear pink shirts in support of their classmate who had been bullied. And so ever since then, in February, on a particular day, I don't know if it's always the 25th or 'cause if it's done at school, you know, it never always lands on the same day because of weekends and such. But Pink Shirt Day is celebrated, and a lot of people use it as an opportunity to fundraise. I know Big Brothers and Big Sisters has been part of the fundraising during Pink Shirt Day, but it's definitely a way to remind kids and the rest of us that it's always better to be kind, right? Stop bullying, be kind. And so I'm going to use as my photo mat for this photo of Joshua, I'm going to be using a piece of the Mix In pattern paper that's in this bluebird color, which is not a color I used on my layout, but I think it works. It's only just a smidgen of blue. It's a little bit darker than the blues that we have over here, but it looks nice. So we're going to be adding that. So this is a 3" by 4" photo, approximately. So I cut this at 3 1/8 by 4 1/8 and layered it on there. Then from the Mix-In collection, I have a piece of the Ballerina plaid, and this has been cut to 3 1/2 by 3". And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go ahead and stick a little bit of adhesive in this left-hand corner here, just a little bit. And this is kind of one of those scenarios. Usually I attach stuff, I lay it down, and then I lay the paper on top. You know my process. But for this one, I'm actually going to be putting this one above in this corner. So I want to kind of get it even all the way around, like so, and have it just sticking out a little. So that 3" by, what was it, 3" by 3 1/2" piece of Ballerina. Then I'm coming on with one more piece of pattern paper from the Mix-In collection. These little tiny sort of hand-drawn circles in black. And let me add a little bit of adhesive in the upper left corner. We're kind of doing things backwards, what we normally do. Normally we put things on the back and then stick onto the other piece. This time I'm putting adhesive on the front of this and then sticking it to the back. So weird. And what I want to do is I want to have the same amount of the black as the plaid and then have that same amount at the bottom. So we're going to be a little bit off of what, and this is 2 1/2 by 2 1/2" square. So we're going a little bit to the right of the Ballerina plaid and the same distance below the photo as we went out here, if that makes sense. So this gap here and this gap here is kind of equal, okay? And then we can go ahead and add adhesive on the back of the whole thing. So sometimes when you're creating layers like this, it's almost, you almost have to work from front to back instead of back to front. Usually, like when I take watercolor classes, you always work top to bottom, left to right, back to front. That's always the rule with things, and quite often that's similar to how you do it with scrapbooking. So let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to come to about the 5th one, but I want to make sure that our choose to shine is visible and the word friendship is visible. And get ourselves sort of lined up straight on there. Doesn't that look cute? Now for my title, I started looking at the black die cuts to see what I could spell out of the black paperboard die cuts. So I've got the word every, because we're talking about Pink Shirt Day. But you know what? Bullying, anti-bullying, and being kind is not just on Pink Shirt Day. It's a message, and it's a campaign that should be every day. So I thought using the words every day would be good as a title for this, because we're not just standing up to bullies on one day. We should do it every day. Every day that we notice that there's a problem, we should take that responsibility and stand up for somebody. So we're going to use the title every day. So I just kind of want to get an idea of where I want to line it up. And I was trying to think if I wanted to add the be kind somewhere, but I think I'm just going to leave it with every day, and just giving myself a moment to kind of play around with the spacing and whatnot. I'm going to scooch it over just a smidge more. And then I'm going to do something else a little bit extra. Sometimes we need to do things a little bit extra, right? I'm going to grab my glue dots, my micro glue dots, because I want to add some of the acrylic letters on top of my die cut letters. Let me just find where the glue dots start. So I have the pink acrylic letters to stick on here. So I'm going to create like a little bit of the shadow, and I'm trying to decide if I should do my shadow the same way the shadow is on the strips of paper, where it's lined up top and bottom and it's just shifted a little bit to the right, or whether I should do a drop shadow. I'm kind of thinking that just a little shifted to the right would kind of keep it all in the same vein. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just, oops. The easiest way to stick these acrylics on is to add the little micro glue dots. And since we're shifting to the right, I want to make sure I get my glue dots on the left-hand side of the letters. And I always find that the easiest way to line up two things like this is to put your fingers top and bottom, so that your fingers are kind of feeling where things need to line up. I think I did okay. It's not superb, but I did okay. And then we can add some adhesive to the A, like that. Do our lining up trick again. And we're going to try and keep the shift at about the same amount of shift. We don't want to have one that's really got a long shadow and one that's got a short shadow. And then let's add some glue dots to our D. There we go. So every day, be kind every day. It's a good message. Not just kids need to hear that. Us grown-ups need that too, right? We need that constant reminder. Be kind. All right. Now I'm trying to decide best way to adhere these, and I'm thinking actually glue dots for the big letters. So let's continue. We're going to start with the D. Add some glue dots. Trying to decide. I think I'll try my tweezers for this. Grab it and keep my fingers out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. D. Tweezers are so handy. Who else uses tweezers when they're crafting? I use them a significant amount. And I've heard good things about the tweezers that are always pinched and then you squeeze them to open them. I've heard that those are very handy as well. Mine are just the regular ones. I like to use them when I'm adding liquid glue to things, as you know. Doing my tap, tap, tap. All right. Get our Y on there. Now I need to remind myself that we haven't stuck down the every yet. And I think we're going to do that. We're going to use our tap, tap, tap method to stick these down. So a little bit of liquid adhesive just there on your hand. If you're not a glue on your hand kind of person, you can add it to a stamp block or something and then just wipe it off when you're done. I tapped that one in, but I didn't tap it off. Kind of need to tap off a little bit because if you don't, you end up with too much glue and it goes smooshy. There we go. I'm going crooked, I can tell. I kind of like backed up a little bit, like backed my head up and looked at it and I was like, woo! This is the good thing about liquid glue is it gives you that extra little minute to kind of tidy things up. When you stand back and look at it and you're like, my, we are wandering. And that's why quite often I say, just make it wonky on purpose. If you start out to make it wonky, then when it actually does go wonky, it'll be fine. Nobody will know because you did it wonky on purpose, right? So either do it very straight or just decide not to worry about it being straight at all. Okay, just going to grab something, wipe the glue off my hand. And I threw my tweezers on the floor. That was the rattle you heard. Now you get to see my head in the mirror, in the camera. The rattle of the tweezers hitting the floor. Gotta love it. Now, we're also going to be bringing in, and I don't remember if I mentioned this at the beginning, we're going to be bringing in the Operation Smile stamp set. Now, we just used this, if you recall, last Sunday on our layout. We're going to use it again. But we're going to use different stamps. So this is the great thing about this Operation Smile stamp set, besides the fact that the purchase of every one of these Close to My Heart sends $7 US to Operation Smile, but it's got lots of fun icons on here for doing lots of fun crafting. So I've got my rainbow pulled off of here. And added to my stamp block. I'm going to get my intense black ink and ink this up. Nice and inky. We're going to stamp on there like that. And, oh, no, I'm going to keep using that. Let me also get there we go, stamp block, the little cloud. I want the little cloud. There we go. Ink it up. This has really fun, cute stitching detail around all the little clouds and rainbow images. We're going to make ourselves a few clouds. I'm going to do one more just in case. I don't even think I'll use all of them, but why not? Have it just in case. Now, we're also going to do some coloring. We can flip this over. We've got multiple we've got multiple layers of Versamat happening now. And it's a little bit lumpy because of those acrylic pieces under there. Okay, for our rainbow, we're going to start out with the pale pink shades. And we're going to use the mid color of the pale pink shades to color this first large piece of the rainbow. Rainbows always remind me of Skittles. Their little slogan, take the rainbow of fruit flavors. There's other things that rainbows remind me of, but that's one of the things that comes to my mind When people say, are we really affected by advertising? Yes, we are. The jingles, the slogans, they get stuck in our brain. There we go. And I'm trying to choose colors that will work well with the colors of the cardstock on my page. I've got the light yellow here, and I'm going to use the mid color of the light yellow blend for our next part of the rainbow. You'll notice as I'm coloring these that I am turning my paper, and that's because we're coloring a curve. And if you're like me and you're right-handed, when your hand naturally goes like this, you create an arc. So you might as well use the arc of the rainbow and the arc of your hand to work together. Don't fight it, just use it. And go with the flow on that one. There we go. So that's the mid of the light yellow. And then we're going to jump to green turquoise. And we're going to use the mid color on this as well. At least that's what I'm using. Green turquoise, which looks very nice with Lagoon. There we go. You'll notice we're not really doing any shading on this. We're just putting down color. Nice and simple. I figure we spent a lot of time getting all those colored cardstock strips on the page. We can go and have a little bit of a relax while we're coloring. We don't have to work too hard. And then let's add some purple on here as well. And we're going to use the light of the lavender. The lightest one. So all the other ones were the mid. And this one we're going to use the light, which looks really nice with the wisteria, which we used on our page. Not traditional rainbowy colors, but our brains interpret it as rainbow, even though it may not be exactly rainbow. And then for my clouds, just to add a little bit of definition, I'm going to come in with the ice gray blend, the light, and just add a little bit of shadow along the bottom, like that. And we'll do one of them upside down, just for a change in shape. So I'm going to add some shadow to the top side of it. And we'll do this one at the bottom, like that. And then this one, why not? Let's do the top on this one, just in case we decide we want it. You can hear this scratch in my in my ice gray. It's running low on ink. Okay, let's do some fussy cutting. You know how that goes. We do the stamping, we do the coloring, then we do the fussy cutting. We're going to use our paper to pivot, our scissors to cut. We're going to leave a halo around, like so. All the way. Cut out some rainbows. And let's rough cut some of these apart. There we go. Two more. That's a scrappy bit. All right. Now, cutting out the rainbow is not hard. It's just a curve, an inside curve and an outside curve. And then on the flat stretch, we'll just go flat. Easy peasy. All the way around. Anybody else sing while they fussy cut? If you got a lot of fussy cutting to do, it's a good time to listen to some music, watch a show, watch a movie, especially something you've seen before or a show that you're following, so you don't have to look up to see who's talking. You recognize the voices. Yep. because fussy cutting kind of requires a bit of attention with your eyes. If you look away and start watching a show, then you realize you've been sitting there like this. And you're like, oh, right, I was fussy cutting. You know, when you get to the intense part of the movie, you know, or you're waiting to hear who done it if you're watching a mystery. All the way around. I'm going to do 3 and then I'll wait and see whether we need more. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And if I don't need them, then all I do is I pop them in the envelope for my stamp. And then another time, whether I'm making a card or a layout, if I need a little cloud, it's already done for me. Don't ever just stamp it and toss it away. You can keep it in that stamp envelope. Just tuck it in the back where you tuck the flap. And then it'll be ready and waiting. There we go. Okay, let's see. Let's get our layout here. With our little rainbow, I want to kind of tuck it under a little bit like that. We're going to kind of put it on an angle maybe. Let's see. Maybe not quite that much of an angle. How about like that? And then make sure we've got our shadow going the right way. We have a couple little clouds there. I think that would be cute. So let's add our adhesive. This is why it helps to not put adhesive everywhere when you're putting on your photo mats and things, because that gives you the ability to tuck, tuck, tuck. I'm kind of changing my mind. Maybe I don't want it so far down. I'm going to have it sticking up a little bit. I can do that, right? I can change my mind. Totally. I can totally do that. So says I. And so says all of us. Isn't that how the jolly good fellow goes? Yes, I'm sure it does. Now, I'm just thinking that it might be cute to have a couple little clouds along here. And do I want to go under or over? Actually, now I'm rethinking that. Let's see. You ever do that? You think you made a decision and then you rethink it. We're going to go there. We're going to go there. That's what I want. A little bit like that. And then I think we'll do another one there. Oops. We're going to kind of overlap the photo a little bit, because why not? We can do that. So I've decided we need more. There we go. We've got some nice space. And I think it kind of helps that all those little strips in there kind of go with the stripes that are created in a rainbow. We're kind of going with just stripes of color everywhere, which is super fun with this cute picture with that nice bright pink shirt. And it's kind of interesting. Joshua didn't actually own a pink shirt, but we had a friend come to visit for a little while, and she had left a pink shirt at our house, and we hadn't had a chance to return it to her yet. So I called up her mom the night before and I said, would you mind if Joshua wore the pink shirt that got left here for Pink Shirt Day? And she's like, no, not a problem at all. So that worked out well. I'm trying to make decisions as I talk. And one more. We're going to go with an odd number of clouds. So yay, I stamped 5 and we have 5. Going all the way around. These aren't hard to fussy cut. It's just little scallops, you know, 5 or 6 little scallopy, circly edges. Easy peasy. And we don't need a whole lot of embellishing on here once we've got this done, because our layout has so much going on with the little stamping and the all the colored strips. I think maybe I'll tuck that one under like that. But even though I say we don't need a lot of embellishment, we're going to come in with some of our black and white dots, and I'm specifically going to use the little black stars to embellish this layout. Let me grab my piercing tool, because that really helps us when we're trying to pick up these little dots. And let's grab one here like that, and one there like that, and then we'll put one up there, so we've made a little trio there. And then let's add a couple over here and kind of span those two, and add one over here. And then where do I want to go with this one? Ooh, let's do this. We're going to make a big triangle over there. And let's grab another sheet that's got some more stars on it. We'll put just a little bit down here beside our title. Just like that. Right, like that. Just on the edge of that photo mat. And there we go. We have created our layout inspired by a Pinterest post I saw by Robin Dodds, D-O-D-S, on Pinterest. And we're going to grab our Rub and Remove eraser to take this adhesive off. You just kind of run your eraser, and as it goes across, it rolls up the adhesive. Yes, it does work on liquid adhesive too if you make too many gobby bits. And there we go. All done. You end up with a little nubby of adhesive you can get rid of. And there is our super fun dynamic layout showing to be kind every day. We've got our beautiful Seabrook strips creating a side shadow all the way across, and then all those layered up strips, 42 paper strips on there in groups of 3 going all the way across, creating that fun variegation? I don't know. Ombre of color. And with the Wisteria and the Limeade, the Ballerina, the Limeade, the Capri, Lagoon, and Mulberry. And then, of course, we follow that same example, creating the shadow, the side shadow, using the black die cuts and the pink acrylic titles. And then, of course, our stamping on the strips. You and me, friendship, choose to shine. It's the little things. Good things take time. Because, you know, since day one on here, back in 2007, with the beginning of the Anti-Bully Pink Shirt Day, it has grown to a global proportions, and so it's celebrated all around the world, which is fabulous. We need to celebrate being kind and standing up to bullies, adding in our little black stars here and there, which I think goes really lovely, picking up on the details in the photo as well. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this layout come together. I'm all tongue-tied. And if you get inspired to create one of your own using this kind of fun background method, please do take a photo of it and pop it in the comments on the Facebook page or in the group where I post the photos of this completed layout, because then we can all see yours and be inspired. Have a wonderful evening and a great week ahead, and we'll see you again soon. Toodaloo. Bye.